The Galactic Council chamber stretched endlessly into the sky, a vast structure of shining metal and glowing crystal, floating above the surface of the alien capital planet, Zorin 5. Ships from hundreds of worlds hovered in orderly lines around the city, their hulls reflecting the planet's pale green sun. The Council had summoned humans for the first time, inviting them as diplomats. But the aliens who filled the chamber already assumed the humans were weak and insignificant. A small group of humans stepped out of their transport pod. They were dressed in simple uniforms, not ornate robes like the alien delegates. The tallest of the humans, Commander Elias Vance, kept his eyes calm, scanning the chamber. Beside him, Ambassador Myra Kane adjusted her glasses, nervously observing the rows of alien leaders. The creatures before them were strange, some with 6 arms, others with transparent skin showing glowing veins, and a few so large they needed special floating chairs just to fit in the chamber. From the moment the humans entered, whispers filled the room. Tentacles twitched, claws tapped on tables, and shimmering scales rippled as delegates laughed softly. "Look at them," hissed a reptilian diplomat to his neighbor. "They can barely stand in our presence." "They are naive," said another alien, a floating jello-like creature with eyes scattered across its body. "They don't belong here. Weak and fragile, pretending to negotiate peace." Elias and Myra ignored the whispers, walking confidently to the podium at the front. A holographic table projected in front of them, showing their agenda. They were here to propose a new alliance of trade and knowledge sharing between Earth and other planets. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," Elias began. His voice was steady. "We come in peace, seeking dialogue and cooperation. Humanity believes in communication before conflict. We hope to share ideas, technology, and culture that can benefit all of us." A ripple of laughter spread across the chamber. One of the alien leaders, a massive insectoid with golden wings, leaned forward. "Peace," he sneered. "We see nothing but weakness. Your kind is still primitive. Why should we listen to humans?" Myra stepped forward. "Because even the smallest voice can change the course of history. Even those you underestimate can bring solutions you cannot imagine." More laughter followed, louder this time. Some aliens waved their arms dismissively, and a few children of the delegates giggled at the humans' appearance. It felt like the entire council was united against them. Then, the lights flickered. A low hum filled the chamber, growing into a deep vibration that shook the floor. Red alarms flashed across the holographic table. Some delegates muttered in confusion. "Technical error," one said, waving a claw. "Ignore it. Humans are just nervous." But Elias noticed something. Outside the transparent walls of the chamber, shadows moved across the city. Large, uneven shapes glided over streets and buildings. Their outlines were strange, too fluid to belong to any known creature. Myra saw them too and frowned. "Commander," she said quietly, "those are not ships. Something is out there." The aliens continued their mocking, oblivious. "Perhaps they're imagining monsters," whispered the jelly creature. Elias shook his head. "No. These are real. And they are massive." The vibration intensified. The city's surface quivered. Suddenly, a low, guttural growl echoed through the streets, vibrating through the chamber floor. It was deep, almost impossibly loud. The aliens froze. Whispers of fear replaced laughter, but only for a moment. Many refused to accept the warning. "Probably a security drill," muttered one large alien with crystal horns. "Humans, do not overreact." Elias ignored him. "This is not a drill," he said firmly. "Something is approaching. Something dangerous. If the council does not act, there will be destruction." Some delegates shifted nervously, but most continued to mock. They had never seen humans remain calm in a crisis. Elias' calmness made them uneasy. He stepped closer to the holographic table, pressing a few controls. Energy readings appeared, showing massive movement in the planet's upper atmosphere. The shadows moved closer, huge and fast. Myra's voice was steady but tense. "Council members, we need to evacuate civilians and prepare defenses. We don't know what this is, but it is not friendly." "Ha," the insectoid sneered again. "You humans scare so easily. Look at your tiny eyes. You cannot possibly understand what threatens you. Elias clenched his fists but kept his tone calm. We do understand. We have faced predators before. And we know how to survive. You have time to choose, act wisely or pay the price for ignoring the warning. The growl grew louder, closer, echoing against the chamber's walls like rolling thunder. Some of the alien leaders started giving orders, panic rising in their voices. They had no idea what was coming. The humans, however, were prepared. They studied the energy readings, calculated trajectories, and started giving calm instructions for the council to follow. From outside, the shadows moved faster. Buildings shook. Lights flickered violently. The council's laughter had vanished completely. For the first time, the alien leaders realized the humans were not afraid. They had not run or panicked. And suddenly, fear crept into their hearts as the growl grew, a terrifying sound that promised power far beyond their understanding. Elias looked at Myra. Stay focused. We have to guide them. Myra nodded. This is only the beginning. Above the city, something massive emerged from the clouds. A shape so enormous it blotted out the sun. Aliens gasped, stepping back from the transparent walls. The humans did not flinch. They had expected this. They had prepared. And now, the council would finally see that underestimating humans could be the deadliest mistake of all. The chamber fell silent, except for the growl, a sound that promised the arrival of a force no one could ignore. And in that moment, all mockery vanished. Only fear remained. The humans had arrived. And something ancient, massive, and deadly had taken notice. The massive shadow over Zorin V's capital city moved like a storm, blotting out the pale green sun. The Galactic Council chamber shook violently, its crystalline walls rattling under the pressure. The aliens who had mocked the humans only minutes before now scrambled in panic, their 6 arms waving, claws clattering, and floating bodies spinning in fear. Commander Elias Vance and Ambassador Myra Kane stayed calm, their eyes fixed on the readings of the massive predator outside. The humans' small figures stood in sharp contrast to the chaos around them, yet their composure made even the largest alien leaders uneasy. It's here, Elias said quietly. Prepare for immediate containment. Evacuate civilians to underground shelters. Now. Many aliens froze. Some tried to shout commands, but fear made their voices shaky. No one had ever faced a predator of this scale. The shadows they had seen earlier weren't ships, not machines, they were living. And they were huge. Suddenly, a portion of the chamber's ceiling cracked. Shards of glowing crystal fell to the floor, narrowly missing some of the smaller delegates. Alarm klaxons blared. Aliens screamed. Humans, however, moved quickly, guiding them toward safer positions. Myra grabbed a floating tablet and displayed the predator's trajectory. It's scanning the city, she said. It reacts to movement and fear. Stay calm. Stay together. That's how we survive. The predator let out a guttural roar, so loud it made the air vibrate. A smaller scout, a creature at least twice the size of the largest alien delegate, crashed through the outer city wall. The aliens ran in panic, scattering in all directions. Humans, on the other hand, remained collected, using hand signals to communicate silently. They guided groups toward emergency corridors and underground shelters. One of the insectoid leaders tried to charge at the scout with a plasma spear. The creature swatted him aside like he was a bug, sending him crashing into a street lamp. The humans calmly stepped back, watching and learning. It doesn't attack those who move carefully, Elias whispered. Aggression triggers it. Calmness confuses it. A small group of alien engineers hesitated near the control panels. Shut down the security barriers, one shouted. But the humans stopped them. Myra raised a hand. No. Keep the barriers active. Only guide civilians through safe exits. Don't panic. The predator hunts fear. The scout roared again, shaking buildings, shattering windows. Aliens cried out, trembling. Humans moved steadily, showing no fear. It was as if the predator sensed something different in them, something the aliens did not understand. From above, the main predator's enormous silhouette became visible. Its limbs were long and sinewy, ending in sharp claws that glinted like steel. Its eyes glowed with a strange, almost intelligent light. The city fell into silence, except for the predator's breathing and the occasional alarms still ringing. "Everyone, listen," Elias shouted. "Form groups. Move slowly, steadily. Do not scatter. We need to control our fear. That's the key." Some alien leaders, still skeptical, refused to follow his orders. They darted around, panicked and shouting. The predator's smaller scouts noticed them immediately. One swept a huge claw across the plaza, sending dozens of aliens flying. Only the humans and those who obeyed remained safe. "Focus on patterns," Myra called out. "Watch its movement. Predict it. That's how we can survive." Elias moved to the holographic display and pointed at several weak points the humans had noticed in the predator's behavior. "It reacts to loud noises first, then movement. Stay calm, stay silent, and it will pass us by." The predator seemed almost like it could sense intelligence. It paused near the council chamber, sniffing the air, scanning the humans and aliens alike. Aliens froze. They had mocked humans earlier, but now, humans were the only ones showing understanding and control. Elias noticed a gap in its attention. "Myra, signal the underground gates. We need civilians and diplomats safe. Move now." With calm precision, the humans guided groups down hidden corridors and into safety tunnels. The predator roared in frustration, sensing its prey slipping away. Some alien engineers finally began cooperating, following the humans' simple but effective instructions. Then, a massive strike came. The predator's claw hit one of the council towers, sending crystal shards raining down. Aliens screamed, scrambling for cover. The humans remained steady, crouching behind reinforced barriers, monitoring every movement. "Elias," Myra said, voice tense, "it's learning. Each action we take, it's adapting." "I know," he replied. "And we can use that. Observe, predict, and guide. The council must survive. The city must survive. And we will show them humans are not to be underestimated." For the first time, some alien leaders began following the humans' instructions. Slowly, a sense of order began to replace panic. Groups moved efficiently to shelters. The predator's scouts found fewer and fewer targets as humans maintained calm, their strategy working. Finally, after what felt like hours but was only minutes, the predator paused at the city's edge, studying the humans and aliens below. Its roar echoed across the planet, shaking the city once more, then it retreated slightly, disappearing into the atmosphere above. The chamber was silent. Broken crystals littered the floor. Aliens looked around, stunned. Their earlier arrogance had vanished, replaced by fear and awe. The humans stood, unscathed and calm, guiding the last groups to safety. One insectoid delegate finally whispered, almost inaudible, "They survived, and they were calm." "How?" Elias looked at Myra and said quietly, "Humans survive because we think, not just react. That's what they don't understand." The city had been shaken. The predator had shown its power. And the Galactic Council, which had laughed at humans just minutes ago, now began to realize that these diplomats were not weak. They were clever, calm, and deadly when underestimated. And the predator had not finished its hunt. The city of Zorin 5 was in ruins. Streets were cracked, towers shattered, and alarms still blared across the council chamber. Shadows of the predator lingered in the clouds above, moving with terrifying patience. The council members who had once laughed at humans now huddled in shelters, terrified. Commander Elias Vance and Ambassador Myra Kane moved through the underground corridors, their boots echoing softly against metal floors. Groups of aliens followed, trembling but listening to every instruction. The humans had become an unlikely beacon of hope in the chaos. "We need to track its movement," Elias said. He tapped on a portable holographic pad. "It hunts systematically. It tests for fear, noise, and aggression. We can predict it if we watch carefully." Myra nodded. The first attack was just a scout. The main predator is still above the city, learning. It will strike again. From above, a deep rumble vibrated through the ground. The predator's silhouette briefly appeared against the green sun, enormous and terrifying. Its claws scraped buildings, leaving trails of destruction. Aliens screamed as the ground shook under its steps. Yet humans moved calmly, coordinating evacuation and observation. One alien engineer whispered, "It's hunting us." Elias replied without looking up, "Yes. But it cannot hunt what it cannot predict. That's why we stay calm and think." The predator's scouts prowled the streets below, massive creatures with glowing eyes and razor-like claws. A group of alien refugees panicked and ran into the open plaza. A scout lunged. Humans reacted immediately. Elias raised his hand, signaling calm. Myra directed the aliens to move slowly, one by one, in a tight formation. The scout hesitated. Its eyes scanned the group. It roared, testing them, but the humans remained steady. Slowly, the aliens moved under human guidance, reaching cover safely. The scout's claws swiped dangerously close, but it could not attack the calm, controlled humans leading the group. "See," Elias said. "It reacts to fear. We use that to our advantage." The predator above let out a deafening roar, shaking the upper city towers. Dust rained down from the ceiling. Aliens trembled, but humans remained focused. Myra tapped a few keys on her tablet, sending instructions to hidden security drones. They began scanning and marking predator movement patterns. "We need a trap," she said. "But it has to be simple. And we have to bait it without panicking the city." Elias studied the holographic display. "We'll need to isolate one of its scouts first. Make it come to a location we control. Then we'll observe its behavior and plan the next move." A group of alien soldiers volunteered, but most froze in fear. Elias stepped forward. "Follow us. Move quietly. If you panic, it's over." Slowly, the group followed, keeping tight formation behind the humans. The predator's scout appeared around the corner, its massive claws scraping metal walls. Its glowing eyes locked onto the group. Aliens gasped and tried to run, but Elias signaled them to stop. The scout advanced cautiously, sniffing the air. Myra whispered, "Now, Elias." He moved a small device along the floor. A pulse of light flashed, startling the scout. It paused, stepping backward. Elias raised his hand, signaling further calm. "Observe. It's learning." The scout hesitated, then lunged toward a decoy set up by the humans. It fell into a trap, a temporary containment field that held it just long enough for the humans to study its reactions. Aliens around them gasped. The humans had done what no alien had imagined possible. They controlled the predator's movements using calm, logic, and strategy. "Notice how it reacts to sound and movement," Elias said. "Too much aggression, and it attacks. Calmness and predictability confuse it." The trapped scout roared, thrashing against the containment field. Myra adjusted sensors, monitoring its energy output. "If we can predict the main predator like this, we can protect the entire city." But the main predator above was not idle. Its shadow moved with terrifying intelligence, circling the ruined towers and scanning the streets below. Aliens huddled in shelters, whispering prayers. Humans remained calm, mapping patterns, and instructing the remaining citizens on safe movement. Suddenly, a secondary scout appeared from a collapsed building. It charged at a group of alien engineers. Elias shouted, "Move slowly, one step at a time. Do not panic." The engineers froze, unsure what to do. Myra stepped forward, guiding them gently, her voice steady. "Take one step. Now another. You are safe if you move with us." The scout hesitated, confused by the calm behavior. Slowly, it retreated, leaving the group unharmed. The aliens stared in shock. Humans had tamed fear itself, turning it into a weapon against the predator. Elias looked at Myra. "It's learning from us, but so are we learning from it. Every movement, every reaction matters. This is how we survive." Myra nodded, scanning the city. "We need more data. If we can isolate the main predator like the scout, we can plan a real defense. We have to be smart, fast, and careful." The predator above let out a roar that shook the city once more. Buildings trembled. Aliens screamed. Humans moved steadily, directing the terrified council members into safer positions, setting up observation points, and preparing containment strategies. By the end of the day, the city was battered, but the humans had gained control. They had shown that calm, intelligence, and careful observation could turn fear into strategy. The aliens had begun to whisper, for the first time, perhaps, humans are not weak. But Elias knew this was only the beginning. The main predator had not yet attacked directly. It was still learning. And when it came, the humans would need every ounce of courage, cleverness, and calm to survive. Above the ruined city, a shadow larger than any building paused, watching. Its glowing eyes focused on the humans. It had recognized something different. Something worth hunting. And so, the hunt continued. The city of Zorin 5 lay in silence, broken only by distant alarms and the occasional rumble from above. Shadows of the massive predator lingered in the clouds, moving with deliberate patience. The council's panic had settled into tense caution, and many alien leaders now followed the humans' calm instructions. Commander Elias Vance and Ambassador Myra Kane moved through a hidden research facility beneath the city. Dust-covered archives and abandoned laboratories lined the walls, remnants of civilizations long gone. Here, humans hoped to find answers, anything that could help them understand the predator and save the council. This facility is ancient, Myra whispered, scanning the alien data crystals. It might have information about creatures like the one above. Elias nodded. If we understand its behavior, we can survive. We need patterns, weaknesses, anything that can guide us. They activated the main terminal. Holographic symbols flickered, revealing centuries of alien records. Some spoke of wars, others of natural disasters. But a recurring theme caught their attention. Predators, enormous, intelligent, and unstoppable, had hunted entire planets before. Look at this, Myra said, pointing to a holographic diagram. It hunts civilizations that are loud, aggressive, or overconfident. It tests its prey. If it senses fear, it attacks. If it senses control, it hesitates. Elias frowned. So it's not just about strength. It's about psychology. It reacts to behavior, not size. Myra nodded. Exactly. That's why our calm worked. It couldn't predict humans. That confused it. They continued to study the records. Images showed predators striking cities, leaving them in ruins, yet avoiding groups that acted in careful, synchronized ways. Energy readings indicated the predators could sense vibrations, temperature changes, and even fear. This explains the scout, Elias said. It retreated when we moved calmly. It is learning. It is intelligent. Myra tapped a few commands, pulling up environmental data from Zorin 5. We can set traps, she suggested. Use vibrations, sounds, and movement patterns to guide it where we want. But we must be precise. One wrong step and it will destroy everything. Outside, the main predator moved silently above the city. Its massive shadow passed over ruined streets, pausing now and then, as if testing the air for movement. Aliens huddled in shelters, too frightened to act. The humans, however, were focused and prepared. They studied its every motion, mapping its habits and tendencies. Elias turned to Myra. We need to isolate it like we did with the scout. Observe, test, and plan the final trap. Myra nodded. We'll need a bait system. Something it can't resist. And we'll need to control fear in the city. One panic, and the predator will adapt faster than we can react. They designed a strategy using the city's ruins. Holographic markers highlighted weak points and possible pathways for the predator. Portable drones were programmed to create vibrations, simulating fear in specific areas. Lights would guide the predator toward safe observation zones, where humans could study it without risking civilians. Elias, look at this, Myra said, showing a holographic diagram of the predator's anatomy. It has dense muscle layers and armored skin. Conventional weapons will barely scratch it. But its eyes and nervous system are exposed. That's our chance to predict or control it. Elias studied the projection. We can't fight it head-on. We can only outsmart it. Observe, predict, and guide. Our calm and strategy are our only weapons. Meanwhile, a low rumble vibrated through the facility. The predator was near. Its massive shadow appeared above the city through cracks in the ceiling. Alien leaders froze, but humans remained calm. They activated drones that sent subtle vibrations into the street above. The predator's shadow shifted, reacting to the signals. "See," Elias whispered. "It responds to cues. We can manipulate its movement." Myra nodded, her eyes scanning the holographic data. "If we lure it into the open plaza, we can study it, test its reactions, and prepare the final containment strategy. But we must move quickly." Outside, the city streets remained silent. The predator's scouts cautiously approached, sniffing the ground, while the main predator circled above. Humans moved with quiet precision, guiding small groups of alien workers and council members to safety. Every step was calculated, every movement controlled. Fear was minimized, chaos avoided. As the humans worked, alien leaders whispered among themselves. "They understand it better than we do." Elias looked at Myra. "They underestimated us. They still do. But after today, they will know humans survive because we think, not because we fight." Myra smiled faintly. "And the predator is teaching us, too. Every action it takes, we learn something new. Intelligence versus intelligence." A sudden tremor shook the facility. Dust fell from the ceiling. The predator's roar echoed above, deep and chilling. Aliens froze in terror. Humans moved calmly, signaling drones and guiding the last group into safe tunnels. "Tonight," Elias said, "we learn everything we can. Tomorrow, we plan the strike. One mistake, and we fail. One calm, precise move, and we survive. The predator is not invincible, only smart. And intelligence can be outmatched with intelligence." Myra nodded. "We will show them what humans can do." Outside, the predator paused above the city. Its glowing eyes scanned the ground, focusing on the humans moving silently, confidently. It had sensed something unusual. Something different from the panicked aliens below. Something it had never encountered before. And for the first time, the humans knew that the predator, massive and terrifying, was not just a force of destruction. It was a puzzle. And if they could solve it, they could save the council, the city, and perhaps even change the way the galaxy saw humanity. The hunt was far from over. But now, humans had the knowledge. The predator's secrets were beginning to reveal themselves. And with that knowledge, they could turn fear into strategy. The city of Zorin 5 was tense. Smoke rose from ruined towers, and dust filled the streets. Alarm klaxons blared in the distance. Shadows of the massive predator lingered above, moving with deliberate intelligence. The alien leaders huddled nervously in shelters, whispering to one another. The humans, however, were calm, methodical, and ready. Commander Elias Vance and Ambassador Myra Kane stood at the center of the ruined city, surrounded by drones, holographic markers, and a few willing alien soldiers. Every movement had been planned, every step calculated. Tonight, they would face the predator head-on, not with brute force, but with intelligence and strategy. Elias looked up at the shadow above. "It's learning," he said quietly. "Every time it hesitates, we have a chance. We need to stay calm and precise. Panic will be our enemy." Myra nodded. "We have the patterns. The scout gave us data. We know how it reacts to sound, movement, and fear. We can lure it into the plaza and control its path. That's our best chance." From above, the predator's massive form emerged from the clouds. Its glowing eyes scanned the city streets, focusing on movement, energy, and fear. The humans moved steadily, carefully guiding small groups of aliens and council members through safe corridors while setting up the plaza as a trap. Elias activated the first drone. It hummed softly and began sending vibrations along the ground. The predator's shadow shifted, reacting immediately. It seemed confused, unsure of where its prey had gone. Myra signaled the second drone, and the vibrations increased in intensity, guiding the predator toward the open plaza. The alien leaders watched in awe. How do they control it?" whispered one. "Intelligence," muttered another. "Not power." Calmness. Strategy. The predator's scout appeared first, cautiously approaching the plaza. It sniffed the air, claws scraping the cracked streets. The humans remained perfectly still, signaling aliens to do the same. Slowly, the scout walked into the controlled area. One drone activated a light pulse, startling it just enough to step into a containment field. Elias observed every movement. It's working. Stay calm, stay steady. The main predator will follow. Myra tapped her tablet rapidly. Holographic markers lit up across the plaza, showing pathways, weak points, and observation zones. Every element of the trap was in place. The humans had learned from the scout and adapted their plan to the main predator's intelligence. Then, the massive predator descended. Its claws struck the ground, sending cracks across the plaza. Dust and debris swirled in the air. Alien leaders screamed, retreating toward the edges of the city, but Elias and Myra stayed calm, signaling everyone to hold position. The predator roared, a deep, terrifying sound that echoed across the ruined city. Its glowing eyes locked on the humans. For a moment, time seemed to slow. The humans met its gaze without fear. Their calm unnerved the creature, making it hesitate, unsure how to react. Elias activated the final set of drones. They moved along the plaza, creating vibrations and flashes of light in patterns designed to confuse the predator. It reacted, turning and circling, following the cues exactly as the humans had predicted. "Now, Myra," Elias shouted. Myra triggered the containment barriers. Energy fields surged upward, creating a corridor that confined the predator's movement. It roared in frustration, claws slashing the air, but it could not escape. The humans had lured it perfectly into the controlled area. Alien leaders watched, stunned. The humans had trapped a creature that no one else could even begin to understand. Their calm and intelligence had turned the predator's strength against itself. The predator struggled, testing the energy fields. Sparks flew, dust swirled, and the plaza shook under its massive weight. But the humans remained steady. They studied its reactions, observing patterns in its aggression, learning from every movement. Elias whispered, "It's reacting to predictability and calm. If we remain steady, we can guide it, control it, even influence its decisions." Suddenly, one of the alien engineers panicked and tried to flee. The predator's eyes snapped toward the movement. Elias acted instantly, signaling a drone to create a diversion. The predator turned, following the cue, allowing the humans to maintain control. The creature roared again, shaking the city with a sound that could crumble stone. But slowly, carefully, the humans continued guiding it along the controlled path, predicting its next moves, using calmness and intelligence to dominate a creature of unimaginable power. Finally, after minutes that felt like hours, the predator paused in the center of the plaza. Its glowing eyes fixed on the humans, and then, almost reluctantly, it retreated, moving back toward the clouds. Its scouts followed, disappearing into the shadows above. The city fell silent. Broken crystals and dust covered the streets. Aliens who had mocked humans now stared in awe. Commander Elias Vance and Ambassador Myra Kane stood tall, unscathed and calm, guiding the last group of council members into safety. One insectoid delegate finally whispered, trembling, "They survived. And they controlled it, without weapons." Elias turned to Myra. "Humans survive because we think, not because we fight." Myra nodded. And now, they know what humans can do. The predator had shown its power. It had tested the city, and it had failed against calm, intelligence, and strategy. Aliens who had once laughed at humans now realized that they had been underestimated. Above the ruined city, the predator lingered in the clouds, watching, learning, and perhaps waiting for another opportunity. But for now, the humans had proven themselves. They had faced the unimaginable and survived, not with brute force, but with courage, calm, and intelligence. The Galactic Council would never forget this day. Humans had arrived not as weak diplomats, but as clever, resilient survivors. And the galaxy had begun to see them in a new light. The city of Zorin 5 was quiet now. Smoke rose gently from shattered towers, and the distant hum of alarms faded into silence. The predator had retreated, disappearing into the clouds above, leaving the ruined city behind. The alien leaders gathered in the council chambers, their faces pale and eyes wide with disbelief. Commander Elias Vance and Ambassador Myra Kane walked calmly through the ruined streets, guiding the remaining council members to safety. Their uniforms were dusty, their boots scratched, but their expressions were steady. They had faced a force that no alien had ever survived unscathed, and they had prevailed, not through strength, but through intelligence, calm, and strategy. Some alien delegates whispered to one another, still in shock. How did they control it? One asked. They didn't fight it, another replied. They outsmarted it. The council chamber had been partially destroyed, crystal shards scattered across the floor. Alien leaders cautiously approached the humans. For the first time, they looked at the humans not as weak diplomats, but as equals. An insectoid delegate stepped forward, lowering his head in respect. Humans, we mocked you, he said slowly. We underestimated your strength. Not in muscle, but in mind. Today, you have shown us what it means to survive. Elias nodded politely. We did what was necessary to protect the city and the council. That is all any of us can do. Myra added, intelligence and calmness can be stronger than weapons. And sometimes, thinking carefully is the best way to fight any enemy. The aliens exchanged glances, realizing the truth in her words. Their arrogance had blinded them. They had laughed at humans, dismissed them as fragile and weak, and now they had seen the consequences of underestimating intelligence. Outside, the city's streets were filled with citizens emerging from shelters. They had watched the humans coordinate the evacuation, protect the council members, and manage the predator's movements. Some had seen the predator from a distance, and they were filled with awe. Whispers of admiration spread quickly. Humans had not only survived but had turned fear into strategy, showing leadership that no alien had expected. Elias and Myra stood at the center of the plaza, looking up at the empty sky where the predator had vanished. The ruined city around them was a reminder of the danger they had faced, but also a testament to human resilience. An elder alien diplomat approached cautiously. You have changed everything, he said. The council will never be the same. Your actions, they are legendary already. Elias shook his head. We did what we had to do. Humanity survives because we think, not just because we fight. That is all. Myra smiled faintly. And now, the galaxy sees humans differently. We are not weak. We are careful, clever, and brave when underestimated. The alien leaders began to apologize for their earlier mockery. We were wrong, one admitted. We did not see the value of patience and intelligence. You have taught us a lesson we will never forget. Another alien, a floating jello-like diplomat, said softly, perhaps humans are what the council needs, not just to negotiate, but to survive. Elias and Myra exchanged a glance. They had never sought glory. Their goal had been survival, protection, and strategy. But the respect of the council and the recognition of their intelligence was something they had earned in the crucible of crisis. From the clouds above, the predator's roar echoed faintly, a reminder that it might return. But for now, the humans had shown that calmness, intelligence, and strategy could challenge even the deadliest of forces. The city slowly began to rebuild. Aliens and humans worked side by side, repairing streets, clearing debris, and restoring communication systems. The humans remained humble, guiding without commanding, teaching without boasting. Their presence had changed the dynamics of the council forever. In the council chambers, the alien leaders gathered around the holographic table. We will remember this day, said the insectoid delegate. Humans are not just diplomats. They are strategists, survivors, and thinkers. The galaxy has underestimated them for too long. Elias looked around at the council. Remember this, he said. Survival is not about size or strength. It is about thinking ahead, staying calm, and using your mind. That is what makes humans strong. Myra added, and never underestimate the quiet ones. Sometimes, the smallest voices carry the greatest power. The alien leaders nodded, understanding the message. They would never laugh at humans again. The story of Zorin 5 and the Predator would spread across the galaxy, a tale of courage, intelligence, and respect. As Elias and Myra prepared to leave, the citizens of Zorin 5 watched in admiration. Humans had arrived as underestimated diplomats, faced unimaginable danger, and emerged victorious. They had turned fear into strategy, confusion into calm, and mockery into respect. The Galactic Council would remember this day forever. Aliens who had doubted humans now respected them deeply, and humans had proven, once again, that even when underestimated, they could survive, adapt, and triumph in a universe that did not expect them to. Above the city, the clouds shifted, and the Predator's shadow faded into the distance. It had learned something as well: humans were not prey to be feared, they were rivals to be respected. Elias and Myra boarded their transport pod, leaving the capital planet behind. Their mission had been more than diplomacy. It had been a statement: humans were clever, brave, and unyielding, even when facing the deadliest threats the galaxy could offer. And the galaxy would never see humans the same way again.